And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Anthwood Movie Mania. And we are live because it is interview time. Now, my special guest today is a huge name in the horror community. He is the star of amazing YouTube series, Horror Hallowed Grounds. He has a YouTube podcast series with the great Christopher Nelson, The Thing with Two Heads, and immense money, other things along the way that we are going to get into. So I would like to welcome to the channel the amazing Sean Clark. I hope that was a good intro.
No, sit down. Everybody, please sit down. Okay. Thank you.
I hope that was a good intro for you.
That was great. I'm not worthy of that intro, but that's okay.
Oh, you are. You are to a lot of people, I'm sure of it. All right. So, before we get into everything, I just, again, I want to say a big thank you for coming on because I know you're a busy person. I know we've chatted in the past and everything, but to get you on here is just a big thing for me. So I just want to say a big thank you again.
No problem. Glad to do it.
All right. So my first question of the day is, how's your day going?
Actually, my day's been going great because today it's Sunday here in California, and I'm a big football fan and a basketball fan. Those are my two sports of choice, and both of my teams are playing today. The Miami Dolphins just played our big rivals, who are the Buffalo Bills, who I absolutely despise, and they've beat us the last 7 games in a row. We haven't beat them in like over 2 years, and we destroyed them today. Destroyed them. So I know my team sucks, but they just killed them today. And then my basketball team is playing at 3. That's why I need to be done by 3. The OKC Thunder, who won the championship this year, we're defending champions. But anyway, so it's big sports day for me.
Yeah, it sounds like a good day up to now. The only reason I know Miami Dolphins is from Dan Marino off
Ace Ventura. Ace Ventura?
Yeah, Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a film in its own.
Yeah. Most people know him, for Laces Out, anyway.
Right, so before we get into a lot of other things, take us right back a little bit. Right, so you were born in the 70s, is that right?
1970.
1970, okay.
Yeah.
So before Halloween, before Nightmare and everything like that, because you didn't have them, Texas Chainsaw, it just barely come out, like 74. Compared to what cosplay is today, because I mean, like cosplay, like dressing up and everything is insane, like the amount of things that people can do. Because you didn't have them films out, what did you go for Halloween as trick-or-treating?
Well, let's see. I have a photo of me dressed. I was probably like 1 or 2 years old, and my parents dressed me up like a cat. So, like, literally, like the whiskers drawn on and everything. That's probably the earliest costume. But then, as a kid, Halloween costumes, I remember I was Gene Simmons from Kiss, and that was the old school Ben Cooper plastic. Actually, it was Collegeville. The plastic mask, and which was mostly what kids wore back then, because that's all we really had were the crappy plastic mask with the vinyl flame retardant jumpsuits. So I did that. I did a stormtrooper one year from Star Wars. That was the Ben Cooper, and then 1 year I did my own. I tried to do a baseball Fury from the movie The Warriors. So I basically just got, a baseball hat, baseball shirt, and painted my face. In my mind, I remember it looking amazing. And then I stumbled upon some photos probably 7 or 8 years ago that my grandma had in a scrapbook from that night. And I was devastated how bad it looked. I was like, oh, wow. I remember it looking perfect, but it looked terrible. But whatever. I was a kid.
That another great film, The Warriors. Yeah. Like I recently watched that a couple of weeks ago. Like 7 in a few years. And just remembered it's still good as I remember. Like remember watching it. So So
Yeah.
to dress up like that, I mean, it must have been fun to dress up as a warrior.
I felt like one, you know, and I had my baseball bat. So if anybody talked shit, but you know.
So when all these films came out, like
Oh,
Halloween,
I just remembered another one. I remembered one more. I was Spider-Man one year too. The plastic Ben Cooper costume. It just popped in my head. I have no photos of that, but anyway, sorry.
It's all right. So when all these films came out, like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, obviously, did you get to go see them in the cinema? And what was it like experiencing it for the first time?
I even saw Chainsaw in '74, but I barely remember it.
My parents took way before. Bloody hell!
Yeah, my parents took me. We weren't very well off money wise, and they couldn't really afford a babysitter, so they would take me. And they were young. My parents were 17 and 18 when they had me. So they, they were young. They wanted to see movies like that, So and same with Exorcist in '73. That one I remember specific images that when I finally saw it, I was like, oh yeah. And I remember what theater we saw it in. It was a drive-in in Anchorage, Alaska. And I vividly remember that. But I didn't really start wanting to go to specific movies until, I got like 7 years old. I remember Star Wars was a big one. Like I remember going to see Star Wars when it opened. Just blew my mind. But Halloween is an interesting one because I saw the commercial on TV for it and it terrified me. And I always remember that specific commercial. It was the one where it ends with him coming down the stairs and it freeze frames on him and it says Halloween. That one just freaked me out. And I really wanted to see it, but for whatever reason, my parents didn't want to see it. And we went to a drive-in theater in Garden Grove, California called Highway 39, and it had 4 screens on each corner, like of a square. Oh. And so we went to see some movie, and I watched Halloween out the back window on the other screen the whole time with no sound, which quite honestly was terrifying without the sound, When I finally saw it like a year later, it made more sense. It was even better. But I do remember watching it out the back window, just like, I didn't care whatever movie we went to see, I didn't give a shit about. I was watching, it was probably like Kramer versus Kramer or something. But I was watching, I don't remember what it was, but I was just watching the Halloween. And they were fine, they didn't care.
Do you know what? When I was like dead little, we went to me and my family went to a caravan site, like on holiday, and like my mum and dad went into the pub and like left us outside, like just me and my brother to play, like with all of our friends, and there was like a quiz night on, and I went in the pub. I must have only been about 10 or something like that. And I went in, and one of the quiz questions was, what's the theme music called? And then the Halloween music came on, like the Halloween theme, and I was like, what is this thing? Like, 'cause I didn't know, I didn't have a clue what Halloween was like back then. But I was like, what is this thing? Because like I just, when you become obsessed with something like a theme tune, and I was like, what is this? And they were like, oh, it's Halloween. And I was like, well, I need to watch it. And then since then, like since I've seen it, that was it. That was.
How old are you?
Me, I'm 38 now.
Okay.
I might look a bit older because I've got a beard, but
actually, I thought you look younger, but that's okay.
It's the light. It's thingy in my grays, so just
My grays are washed out with something called hair dye, but because my entire head is gray. My actual hair is white. I started getting gray hair when I was 12. My dad had a full head of gray hair by the time he was 21.
Oh God.
Yeah, so totally premature. I've actually thought about letting it go, but my girlfriend likes it black, so I'm just like, okay, I don't care. It's no big deal. You know,
Oh,
whatever makes her happy. That's all I care about.
no, I think I'm just gonna let it go natural. If I go grey, that's it. I'm going grey.
But if I did, I'd end up looking like Johnny Knoxville or Jamie Lee Curtis. You know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So before all these like great like Halloween and everything like that came out, like, did you have a favorite film?
Star Wars. Yeah, probably. That was the one that probably impacted me the most. I mean, Jaws made me terrified of the water for sure, but Star Wars was the first movie I think I was kind of obsessed with and wanted to buy the posters and
Yeah.
the toys and but there really, yeah, to be fair, there wasn't merchandising for any of these movies back then. I mean, Star Wars was the first one to really merchandise,
Yeah. Yeah, cause, I remember seeing a video like on like when Star Wars started like doing all the thing. It just was like just went global. Like it sold. I don't know. Like obviously everyone wanted it, so
Yeah.
it just became like a global phenomenon, didn't it? And then then you had The Empire Strikes Back. Just that went through the roof.
Yeah, that's the best movie of all of them.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of like. I think everyone agrees with that one. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think no one can like disagree with it. But yeah, Jaws. I love Jaws. Like that is probably up there in my favorite films. Like
Yeah,
no matter,
it's in my top 10.
yeah, like no matter. Like, it's just one of them films. Like if it's on the telly, no matter what part of the film it's in, you can just sit and watch it, even though you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just that film. You can just watch it wherever it is in the film and still like be amazed, like with what's going on.
It's a perfect movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So after becoming like a horror fan or just films in general, like is that something that you've always wanted to be like involved in?
No. I didn't I didn't really I think about getting involved in film until like the late 90s when I started wanting to write screenplays. And a friend of mine, a guy named Mike Lester, and I started writing scripts together. And we got a couple optioned, but they never really went anywhere. One was, one got real close. Actually, two got pretty close. But it's very common in this business where somebody will give you a small amount of money to option your script for 12 months and see if they can get it financed, and then it falls through. But I remember like one of them had some really good genre names attached to it, like people that had signed on for it. Reggie Bannister from Phantasm, Ken Foray, Mark Ralston. They were all tied to this one script Mike and I had written called The Haunting Grounds. And then there was another one that came real close called The Hangman. But just never happened,
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, but through my teen years up into probably age getting close to 30, I was pursuing being a musician. I did a couple records with a couple bands, and I had one band in particular called Malfunction. That's where the malfunction thing comes from. That got real. I mean, we were right there about to break, and we were this close to getting signed. We had great management, and our singer just quit. And it's a crazy story. I actually did a documentary about it, and the documentary is finished, and I've been dying to put it up, but there's been some disagreements about the documentary. So it's kind of in limbo at the moment because I don't, but it's funny. I've shown it to probably 50 people, including like a lot of people in the business, in the music business, in the film business. And the reaction to this documentary has been so positive. Like literally people telling me it's the best music documentary they've ever seen. Now, it's amateurishly done, really, you know, at the end of the day. It wasn't done with high-tech equipment. It was pretty much shot on iPhones and, you know,
Yeah.
but I think it's the content, it's the story and the drama behind the whole situation that pulls people in. And I'm really proud of it. I hope I can convince certain parties to allow us to put it out. It will see the light of day at some point. It just may take a little longer than I'd hoped.
I hope so, because stuff, I hate when things like that happen, like when you put so much effort into it and you just
Oh
can't.
God. I must have put, I'm not joking, I've probably put in 100 hours of editing into, I mean, all the footage that I cut together and the recuts and just getting it just perfect. I mean, because to me, my favorite process of all of the stuff I do is the editing process, because that's when everything comes together. You know what I mean? That's when you tell the story. I mean, the one movie I did, the Black Waters of Echoes Pond movie, I actually edited it with a professional editor. We co-edited it together. I didn't get credit for it. That's a whole nother, that could be another documentary. But I edited that film with the professional hired editor. I was the third person to take a shot at it because everybody before me, it just was not working. And everybody was like, dude, this movie's terrible. And I at least was able to put it together in a way that it was watchable. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a good movie by any means. I think it's okay. There's some people that really like it. That's what the goat guy there is from. But some people really like it. And I appreciate that. But, you know, it is what it is. But again, I kind of went on a tangent, but I love the editing process. So when people say, dude, you need to put out more content, man, I love your content, but you know, you don't put out enough. And it's like, well, I've got all this stuff filmed. I just haven't had time to edit it. And people say to me, hey man, let me edit it for you. I'm constantly getting hit up by people asking to edit. And I'm like, that's my favorite part. You know, that to me is when that's what makes the product good. You know, is the way you cut it together, the timing, everything. I'm a drummer, so timing is everything. And that's, I think being a drummer helps me be a good editor. So
yeah, because I get what you're saying, because like if you send it off to someone and they edit it like the way you don't want it, like, oh, that should have been there, and then you know,
then you got to re-edit it.
Exactly, because if you do it, then you know, and then you've got like in your head where you know you want everything to be. I know exactly what you're saying.
There's a buddy of mine that helps me out a lot on my stuff. His name is Brian Balchek. He does all the images you see from my YouTube videos. He films some of my stuff sometimes. Like he shot the Poltergeist, most of the Poltergeist episode I just did. He shoots some of my collection stuff. He'll come over to my house and film me talking about my collection. I've let him edit a couple things, but it's usually stuff that's either like the collection stuff where I'm not really telling a story. When it comes to like Horrors Hallowed Grounds, it's very crucial for me to get the cuts right with the film and have everything work in a certain way. But like sometimes he'll edit one of my podcast episodes, which is easy. It's just me and Chris talking.
Yeah.
That's easier to edit, you know? I'm not as crazy control freak about that. But like Horrors Hallowed Grounds episodes, I'm super control freak about. Like it has to be the right way, you know?
Yeah, like I obviously, like when I do my YouTube videos and everything like that, like I have to like cut it all down, but like I'm a big, I give like editing to a go at another thing, because I'm a massive fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That is like one of my favorite TV shows. So the amount of times that I've watched it, I thought with the new series, like Sarah Michelle Gellar's announced a new series of Buffy coming out next year. Like I wanted to give fans like just something new to watch until it comes out. So like I edited I made like a brand new episode of Buffy. So what I did was I edited 4 episodes into 1 episode. So because I've watched it that many times, when I got thinking about it, I knew exactly. I mean, are you a fan of Buffy at all?
I'm not.
No,
Sorry.
no. That's absolutely fine. Like, I don't discourage anyone who doesn't like it. Like, I'm not going to say it right. Oh, do it. Like, but yeah. So like 4 like an episode is like 45 minutes, like 40 to 45 minutes an episode, and the way the story I planned out was I made 4 episodes into 1, but the full episode I made was 26 minutes long.
Oh wow.
Like of 4 episodes, there was it's 26 minutes, like the full thing. But considering Buffy is the main star of the show, I only put her in for 6 minutes of the full thing because, like, I mean, if people are watching, like, if obviously if the fans of Buffy, like the first 2 episodes, Buffy comes to Sunnydale, and there's a thing called the Harvest where like the head vampire needs to get another vampire to drain like loads of people's blood to break free from this like force field, like underground he's stuck in. And but Buffy stops it like from happening, so he doesn't break free. And like in season 3, there's an episode where Buffy doesn't come to Sunnydale, and like the harvest happens. So like someone makes a wish, and then like saying, "Oh, I wish Buffy never came to Sunnydale," and then the master breaks free, and then the full town is overrun by vampires. So what I did within them first 2 episodes, I made it so Buffy never turned up in Sunnydale at all. And then the master breaks free, and then she could like when the town's overrunning vampires, then she comes into it. But then there's like a big twist at the end where she gets killed, and then she wakes up and like, so it's meant to be like a full dream. The full thing's meant to be like a dream. That's how I made it. I mean, if you're a fan of the show, then the full thing it'll make sense. Like, because if you've watched it as many times as Buffy fans have, you'll know exactly where everything's fit into place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had fun because I knew where to do everything. I knew exactly what to do. With
It's fun. It's fun doing that stuff. I mean, I've going back to the 90s. I remember I edited together. I remember I had 3 different versions of Army of Darkness, bootleg copies. And I edited all 3 into one giant, film. Like, and then, I did stuff like edited together an ultimate cut of Halloween 1 and 2, adding in the TV versions, the TV scenes, and cut the movie together so it just went continuously from him falling off the balcony. I did stuff like that just for fun, just for myself, and I enjoyed it,
Yeah, that's what. Right, this question isn't mine because for the very first time on this channel, someone has actually sent in a question. So, I know. Yeah, be happy because no one's ever asked, like, no one's sent in a question before. So this one is from Connor Kerr. Can you ask Sean if there is anyone he doesn't currently have as a client that he would like to work with in the future?
Oh God, tons. I mean, that's Kurt Russell. I mean, that's a big one. I mean, he would be. That's kind of the white whale, I think, for horror is Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
that's the one that just jumps out at me. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people I'd love to work with. I'd always said Johnny Depp, but actually Johnny Depp's doing his first convention in Tokyo, Japan next month. I'll be there as I have to be there with some of my clients. So I'll finally get to meet the guy because I've never met him. But that would have been one I would have named. But somebody already got him.
Well, there you go, Connor Kerr. Question answered. Right, let's get into Horror Hollowed Grounds. When, like, what, how did you come up with the idea for this?
How did I come up with the idea for Horror Hollowed Grounds?
Yeah.
It really just, it started, I think it really was born out of a trip me and some friends took to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to the mall from Dawn of the Dead. We actually went to Zombie. It was called Zombie Jamboree. This was 1993. And we went to this thing called Zombie Jamboree, and it was in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. And it was right across the street from the mall from Dawn of the Dead. And when we got there, it was me and 5 friends. When we when we saw the mall, it was like this incredible sense of nostalgia that hit you. And when you walked in there back in 1993, that mall still looked exactly like it did in the movie, with the exception of the ice skating rink had been removed. But everything was still there. All the fountains, all the little bridges, everything. And when we walked in there, I had this weird, almost euphoric sensation hit me of like returning to my childhood home, or like going to your elementary school that you went to as a kid. I recognized everything. I felt like I had been there so many times before, but I'd never been there because I'd seen the movie so many times. I'm getting this weird sense of nostalgia, but I've never been here. And that feeling was so powerful. And as a fan, just like, I was like, it was like a drug. I needed another fix. So I started thinking to myself, wow, if I can visit this place, how cool would it be to visit these places? Like, I want to go to this. I want to see the houses from Halloween. You know, I want to go to the mall from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I want, you know, all these things started clicking, but this is way pre-internet. There was no way to look this stuff up. There was no information out there. I literally had to just start kind of looking, doing my own investigating. And people today that are into filming locations have no idea the shit I used to go through to find these places, because there was no info out there. And I literally would drive around LA in the areas I heard the movie was made and try to recognize houses. It was ridiculous. You couldn't go on Google Earth and Street View and all that stuff that you can do today. It was very time consuming, but I will say this, far more rewarding than just Googling it. I mean, part of the fun was the hunt, you know?
Yeah.
Which is kind of lost today, because most places have been found and you could easily Google them. But
yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. With how hard was it, like, finding these film locations?
Oh God, crazy. I mean, I've told this story a few times before, but I had read an interview with John Carpenter in Fangoria magazine, and they were talking about the making of Halloween. And in the interview, he mentioned a street called Orange Grove in one part of the interview. He goes, oh, we're filming on Orange Grove and blah, blah, blah. Then another part of the interview, he mentioned filming in South Pasadena. So I went into, we used to have these things called Thomas Brothers map books. So I'd go through the map book and I would look up Orange Grove, South Pasadena, and I found it. I'm like, holy shit, here it is. I just got to drive down that street. I'll find the house, right? So what I didn't know is when he was referring to Orange Grove, he was talking about a street in Hollywood, and South Pasadena, but it just happened to be in Orange Grove in South Pasadena. And it just happened to be one street over from the Myers house. So I'm driving up and down Orange Grove. I don't see anything, but I turn a corner and come up another street, which was Meridian. And suddenly the first thing I saw was, it's that shot from when Lori and Annie are in the station wagon and they see the hardware store and they go, my dad. And you see the shot from behind the station wagon. You see there's like a thing in the middle of the road. It's like a rock formation. And then you see the hardware store in the corner. I saw that rock formation and instantly was like, holy shit. And I looked up and I saw the hardware store and I'm like, oh my God. And then I looked to my right and I saw the Myers house, but that's not where it's supposed to be. But that's it. That's the Myers house. And so then I found out that they moved the house and all that stuff, but that was the first thing I discovered, and it was completely by accident.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I did not know that story, so thank you for sharing that with me.
No problem.
Right. So, how long was it? How long did it take to film an episode?
It depends. It depends on how many locations there are, how far apart they are. Some movies are shot in different countries. You got to travel, all over the place to get everything. I mean, like for example, American Psycho, most of it was shot in Toronto, Canada, but a lot of it, I would say 25% of it was actual New York City. So got to go to both. Um, like I'm doing a monster episode on The Shining. I've been working on it for several years, and what it's going to consist of is the book, the movie, and the miniseries. So I'm going to cover all three, because there's so many misconceptions regarding The Shining. People think it's a real hotel, because people get confused because he got the inspiration to write the book at the Stanley in Colorado, but the Stanley in Colorado is also where they shot the miniseries. But then there's the Timberline Lodge in Oregon, which is the exterior of the hotel, but only in the aerial shots. When you first see the overlook, it's an aerial shot of the real hotel. Every time you see them walking by it outside or anything with the family, that was a facade built in London, England. So, and then there's also the Anawani in Yosemite National Park in California, which was the inspiration of the interiors of the set. So they kind of recreated the look of the interior of the Anawani on the set in London. So you kind of have to go to all these places to cover all of it. So this is a monster episode, and I've done most of it already. I'm only missing 2 locations, and I'm done. It's going to be a bitch to edit, I can tell you that.
Have you managed with this episode? Do you think you'd ever get Jack Nicholson on it to talk about it?
I don't think so. However, I did meet him once. I met him in 1994, 5, maybe whatever year Wolf came out. I think it was 95. He showed up at a Fangoria convention to do a Q&A to promote Wolf. He was not signing, but I found out where the limo was waiting for him to pick him up afterwards. And I went outside and waited for him. And he came out the side door after the Q&A, started to get into the limo, and I opened up the Wolf poster. I had one. They were giving them away. And I held it like this, and he looked at it, and he stepped out of the limo, and he signed my poster and got in the limo and drove away. I was the only person to get his autograph.
Oh, my God.
Only downside is he signed it with a red Sharpie in a black area. So if I got one of those frames that's backlit, like at the theater, you can see it perfectly. Otherwise, you can't really see it. But it's a great signature, though. It's a bummer.
Oh, no. Like the last guest I had on here was Adam Marcus from Friday the 13th.
Jason Goes to Hell? Yeah.
Yeah. Like we were talking about werewolf films, and like I was telling them that I'd like previously done with someone a top 10 werewolf ranking film, like top 10 ranking, and that Wolf was number 2 on my list. Because,
really? Okay.
Yeah, because I absolutely love that film. Like I pretty much watch it every year.
Really?
Like you said, it came out in 94, and like I watched it when it first came out, and it absolutely put the shit up me. Not because he turned into the wolf, but because of the eyes.
Yeah.
Like James Spader, like proper scumbag. Like when he turns, his eyes proper. I mean, to be honest, mate, it still freaks me. It still gets me. I only watched it the other day when we were talking about it. I put it back on, and it's still. But yeah, I just love like everyone who I talk to about films and stuff, and I always ask them, "Have you seen Wolf?" And they're like, "No." And then I just I'm like that.
It's funny. I've been meaning to revisit it recently. I have somewhere in my VHS archive, I have a work print of Wolf that has a lot of the extra stuff, a lot of the extra Rick Baker stuff that got cut out.
Oh, really?
Who knows where, but I don't know if that stuff ever made it onto YouTube or on a Blu-ray release, but did any of that? Do you know? Have you ever seen any of that extra footage?
I've got it on. I've got 2 copies on VHS. And one on DVD. I know that they brought out an Arrow, not an Arrow, like another one for Blu-ray, and it had like a 55-minute documentary on it, Becoming Wolf.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it might have been.
Well, the VHS I had was a total bootleg. It was a work print, because back in the day at the horror conventions, it was just bootleg mania because you couldn't get anything, so everybody was selling bootlegs. And since it was LA, so many people in the industry, people would dub like partially edited copies, and they would get traded, and there was a whole underground VHS trading world that I was involved in, and I had tons of those movies. I still have a bunch of them.
Yeah, with Wolf, like I always explain, like the way I explain it, it's a modern day Wolfman, but it's a slow burner film, but the end payoff at the end is just top notch.
Yeah,
to me. Like that's the best way I can explain it.
And I just remember one thing I do remember from it. I haven't seen it. Honestly, I probably haven't seen it since about the time it came out. But which is why I want to revisit it. But I do remember that they used the Bradbury building in the film, which it's downtown LA. It's famous for Blade Runner. They used in Blade Runner. It's a famous building. It's the building with the inside is high up with the stairs and the balconies.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I know it. Oh, right. Oh, well, I didn't know that. But
so I could do a horizontal grounds on it. I could.
Please do. I'd love to watch that. Like, so. Right. So sticking just with last question for Hollow Grounds. Favorite location?
My favorite one was the Danvers State Mental Hospital from Session 9. That was the coolest location I ever went to. But probably the one that got me the most excited was originally seeing the Monroeville Mall from Dawn of the Dead, which sadly is going to be torn down in 2027.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you haven't had a chance to go to the mall, get there before it's torn down. It's worth seeing. Before
they do it, you should do a Hollow Grounds Revisited at that Dawn of the Dead, just before they tear it down.
You never know. I might go I might want to, like I did with my Bill and Ted's. I don't know if you saw my Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure episode. I went to the mall the final day it was open before they tore it down. And it was quite an event, and I'm sure it'll be quite an event at the Monroeville Mall. There's a lot of Dawn of the Dead, very, very, very passionate Dawn of the Dead fans. So,
right. So you have a YouTube podcast series with the great Christopher Nelson. How did that come about?
Basically, during COVID, we were just chatting one day on the phone, and he just brought it up. He just said, we should do a podcast. And I was like, yeah, it's funny is I had been thinking about doing a podcast for probably friggin' 10 years, but I didn't want to do it by myself. I knew I needed another person to be able to interact with.
Yeah.
And I never found the right person. It just not, I thought about, maybe him, maybe my buddy so-and-so. And I'm like, well, and I was like, it needs to be somebody. They have to have the right something.
Yeah.
And Chris, not only does he have the name in the industry, for who he is, but he has such a good, dry, sarcastic wit. He's very funny. He's a bit of a character, and me and him, literally our podcast is basically us talking on the phone. It's like we're filming a phone conversation. This is the kind of shit we would just talk about, we just talk about movies. So now the only downside to it is I purposely don't call him as much because I want to have stuff to talk about on the podcast.
Right. So when filming an episode, like a podcast, who do you like decide who takes turns on what you're going to be talking about, or is it just general back and like anything?
We completely wing it. I mean, I use my iPhone, the notes. So when something pops in my head that I want to talk about, I'll put in my notes. Like, all right, I went to see a movie. Like, just went and saw Black Phone 2. I go, Black Phone 2. I'll put it in there so I can talk about it and remind me because I'll forget. If there's, a lot of people like our Get Off My Lawn segment. So if something pisses me off, I'll put it in my phone. Remember to talk about blah, 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 So I do have a cheat sheet, but I don't tell Chris what I'm going to ask or what I'm going to say. I don't ask him. We usually just talk, what have you been up to? And we just start going. And usually something interesting comes out of the conversation, we used to try to get guests on more, but it just became so difficult with our schedules. Chris is filming all the time. I'm out of the town, doing conventions. Trying to have a time where we definitely can say, hey, we're going to do this next week at this time so we could book a celebrity to come on the show just never seems to work out because we can't. Literally, when we do an episode, it's like a thing where I'll call him up today and go, hey, man, you want to do an episode tomorrow? Are you around? Yeah, I'm around. Okay, let's do it around noon. Sounds good. That's it. It's no preparation. And in fact, I was probably going to do that maybe tonight because we haven't done one in a couple months, and I know we're lagging. We were going to try to do one when we were in Manchester at For the Love of Horror. And in fact, we did a live commentary of the movie Halloween with Nick Castle. We sat on stage in front of an audience and just talked about the movie. And I filmed us sitting on the couch. The sound is, I'm trying to mess with it to see if it's worth putting up. But honestly, you can hear the movie so much that it's going to get demonetized for sure. And probably copyright strikes and all that stuff. So I don't know if it's worth the effort, but I think people would enjoy seeing it just for fun.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah.
When doing live streams, for me, like doing stuff like this, like it doesn't feel like a chore. Like oh, I've got to get another one. I've got to get another one out. Like for me, I love doing it for fun. Like when you two guys do it, does it feel that same way for you? Like just having fun chatting about anything, like saying, "Oh, we've got to keep doing it." Like just something fun you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, Chris and I are only gonna do it if it's fun, the funny thing is, it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of work for sure. Because the editing part, because I'll go in, I'll edit it, I'll tighten it up, and then I'll add the images, everything we're talking about. I got to put the images in. It's a lot of editing. It takes a lot of time. But I think the thing that mostly keeps Chris and I doing it is how passionate the people that like the show really are. It's funny because if you were to look at my numbers, my views on my content, my Horrors Hallowed Ground stuff by far gets the biggest views. Yeah. My collection stuff gets the next biggest views. Thing with Two Heads probably gets the lowest views. I mean, not bad. We still always crack 10,000 views an episode easy. I mean, that's no numbers to be, to complain about.
Yeah.
But compared to like 100,000 views for the Poltergeist episode,
yeah,
it's a night and day difference. But I will say this: the people that love our podcast tell us, and they're very vocal. And when we were in Manchester, we were blown away by how many British fans we had. tons. It was like, wow, in fact, I think more people came up to us wanting pictures and stuff with us because of the podcast than I get at US shows.
Oh wow! I know people. Like people say to me, like whenever I tell them I do YouTube, and oh, how much money do you get? Like video,
Yeah.
like how much money are you making off YouTube? And I'm like nothing. I make nothing from it. I said, like, surely, like if I ever made anything off it, like I'd be over the moon. But like I only do it for fun. Like everything I do, like my collection videos, like live streams, interviews, like I just do it for fun. Like I've always said, if I can hit just 100 views a video, I'm happy. That is it. Like now I'll just move on to the next video and like try and get another 100. But I mean, obviously, if I get like God knows how many views, then I'd be like over the moon. But like I've always
it takes time. You just got to stick with it, and eventually, good content, people will find it. And I had an advantage. I started my channel during COVID, but I had an advantage of already having established myself in the industry. People knew who I was. I'd been doing the stuff for years on Blu-ray and DVD and all that. So when I came out with the channel, people found it pretty quickly. Like, because I have a big social media presence too. I'd put it on whatever, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and people would come check it out, and it grew fast. It's still growing. It's steady. People say, dude, you should have 1 million followers or whatever. And it's like, well, I'm creeping up to 100,000. It's slowly going. I just hit 80,000 recently. So we're getting there. But, you just got to keep moving the goalpost a little further, and as your channel grows, that'll happen for you, So I have this mindset that if I don't hit, now this is me, you're probably going to roll your eyes when I say this, but for me, if I don't hit 10,000 views a video, to me, it's a fail for where I'm at, based on my subscribers.
Oh, right, okay.
You have 80,000 subscribers. You should get at least 10,000 views. That's, so yeah. But, it blows my mind when I see people like my buddies Dead Meat that have like 7 million subscribers.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
It blows my mind, That's when you're making some serious money. I mean, people probably wonder, like, what kind of money can you make? Like, what kind of money do I make on YouTube? Honestly, I average probably between $1,500 to $2,500 a month on YouTube.
Wow.
That's for me, I mean, a lot of it honestly doesn't even cover my expenses of, like, if I'm doing a Horrors Hallowed Grounds episode, I got to travel, hotels, rental cars, all that stuff. But you know what? Again, I don't do it for the money. I'm grateful that there is a monetary, there is some sort of way I can monetize it. That's great. It's 100% for the content, for the fun. It's a hobby. And if I can make a little money from my hobby, I'm excited. Obviously I do pretty well in everything else I do, the convention stuff. That's my bread and butter. But, if I make a little bit of money on the channel, I'm happy with that.
Speaking of Chris, like I want to talk about Halloween for a minute, because he was hired to do the Michael Myers masks for the Blumhouse trilogy, which were great, like amazing films. Did you ever get to visit the sets while they were filming?
I visited the set on Halloween Ends, or excuse me, Kills, Halloween Kills. I was on set for Halloween Kills. If you watch my Halloween Kills Horrors Hallowed Grounds episode, I show a lot of that being on set and pictures and some footage and stuff. Because I shot an episode of Horrors Hallowed Grounds while I was in town visiting the set, because I found out where everything else was shot, but I hadn't seen the movie yet. So I went to the spots and filmed them, not knowing for sure where they were. You know what I mean? Like I knew, like, the bar from Halloween Kills. I went to the bar, I filmed it, but I didn't know what happened in there, you know. So, but I figured, you know what? I'm going to visit the set. I have access to all the location maps. I might as well go film it all while I'm here and get my episode out before anybody else's, you know. So
That's smart. That's a smart move. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, but I wanted to visit the set during Ends, but that was shot during COVID, and they had crazy strict rules.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you weren't supposed to be on set, I was told there was no guests. You couldn't have visitors. So
it's a shame.
But I was on set for 3 days on Kills. I got to see the SUV scene in the park, where Michael attacks the SUV. I got to see all the flashback scene in the alley where Michael comes down the alley and they're shooting at him and stuff. I got to see that. And something else. I don't remember what was the last night. The last night was, fuck, I don't remember. But I was there for 3 nights. It was so cool. I honestly, if you're on set watching a movie being made, it's pretty boring. I know people, it's hard to imagine, but there's a lot of just sitting around waiting, as they set up shots and all that. So I actually hung out with Chris in his makeup trailer most of the time because it was just like we're bored, I'd wait till oh, Chris, they need you to come do this blood gag, and then I'd go with him and watch him do it,
Right, with Halloween 2018, they shot an alternate ending that never got released. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen the actual footage, but I have the script and I have a lot of behind the scenes photos from that whole segment. So
I feel like Halloween fans have been cheated out of seeing that alternate ending. Like when they were bringing them out on Blu-ray, like in the box set, I feel like they should have just put it on that box set so they could have seen like an alternate cut.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that. There was also another ending shot for Ends, Halloween Ends, which was filmed. I'm sure at some point they'll, as they always do, triple dip and put out a, super deluxe edition, and we'll all buy it again because we're idiots. But yeah, there was another ending where Michael Myers gets cremated. They take him to the mortuary and they actually put his body in and burn it, and it was a little less climactic than the throwing in the grinder thing, So
all right. Oh, well,
it was funny as a gift. This is kind of interesting. The movie wrapped, right? Because they went back and reshot that ending in the thing. So the movie was done, and as a gift to Christopher Nelson, they gave him the ashes, like with the toe tag that said Michael Myers, like it was like, here's his ashes. You created him, you get to keep him. That was the sentiment. And then they go, well, we're actually going to reshoot it. So, but he still has that. It's a pretty cool item to have.
Oh yeah. Right. This next question is something I like to ask everybody. Halloween 78, classic. No one can deny it. But would it still be highly regarded and still talked about if none of the other sequels were made?
Oh yeah, just like Psycho is. I mean, even though they did sequels to Psycho. Yeah, I think it would probably even be more highly regarded by cinephiles. I don't think it would be as big as it is as far as merchandising. You wouldn't be like drinking out of this cup or anything like that. But I mean, so I don't think it would be as popular without the sequels, but as far as the film being regarded as a classic and beloved and all, definitely, it absolutely would be still. Yeah.
So every time I've asked someone that question, they've pretty much given me the same answer. It's a big yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because a great movie's a great movie, whether there's a sequel or not. you know.
Yeah, so
you can't ruin the original. Just like people flipped out when they did the Psycho remake, you know, shot by shot remake. It's like, well, there's still the original, you know. It's not, they're not changing the original. Not too many people have done that. George Lucas is the only one who's tried to go back and change the original. And it's like, stop it, leave it alone. But we still have our old copies. We're gonna cling tight to our old original copies of the original trilogy. You can't fuck with it, George Lucas. Anyway. Han shot first. Han shot first. Okay, go ahead.
Right, you are pretty much a big name in the horror community. How does it feel when like loads of people like myself come up to you and just want to talk to you about horror and like that you've become part of that genre?
It's surreal. I'm so incredibly grateful for it, because I never in a million years thought anybody would care about me, period. It's so humbling to have people come up to you and say, "Hey, I love your videos," and you know, and blah blah blah. And you know, it's easy to get a big ego, you know. And there was a point years ago, probably over 10 years ago, where I did start to believe my own hype a little bit, and maybe thought my shit didn't stink, so to speak. But I grounded myself pretty quickly and realized, yo, dude, you know, you're just a guy like anybody else. You know, get off your, you know, high horse. But that can happen though, if, I hate to say fame, because I feel that's a little pretentious, because I don't feel like I'm famous. I feel like there are people that know me, you know, but I can walk into a grocery store right now and nobody will know who I am, right? But I would say it's happened where I've walked into the grocery store and somebody went, "Oh, dude, oh my God, I love your videos." You know, it happens. It to me, it happens maybe once a week when I'm just in my regular life. It doesn't happen like I'm Brad Pitt or something. You know what I mean? But I'm just grateful people acknowledge it and appreciate it and support it. And it's such a good feeling when somebody comes up to you and tells you they love what you do. You know, it catches you off guard, especially when you're just out. And you know, when it happens to me at a convention, I expect it. I'm ready for it, you know, because that's my world. Those are my people, you know. But when I'm at the grocery store and a guy stops me and says, "Hey man, I love your videos," or whatever, you know, it catches you off guard. You know, you're like, "Oh, hell, you know, thank you," you know. And I always appreciate it. I'm always totally willing to stop and talk to somebody. There's always going to be those moments where you may catch me at a bad time, where I'm in the middle of something, especially at a convention when I'm working, because I am working. And I will always tell that person, if I can't stop and talk to them, I'll go, "Are you going to be here for, I got to do something right now. I'd love to talk to you. I'll be here all day," you know, and I'll get back to them. You know, I don't want to blow anybody off, because I've had it happen to me. And any interaction you have with somebody that you admire and it's a bad one, even if it's me, maybe they were just having a bad day, it sticks with you for life, you know, because I've met some celebrities that were fucking assholes. And that one moment, whenever they pop up on the screen now, I instantly go back to that moment when they were a dick. And it just kills you, you know, as a fan, it kills you. So not that I'm trying to put myself on the same level as a big star, but anybody admires what you do and looks up to you, and you treat them poorly, it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt their feelings. And I never want to be that guy. I appreciate people, again, so I can't emphasize it enough how much I appreciate the people that enjoy what I do.
Oh, I've only got about 3 more questions, so I won't keep you too long.
Go for it. I'm like I said, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. So this year I attended my first For the Love of Horror in Manchester. We met.
Okay.
You were like, I just want to say, like, I got to meet like loads of celebrities. I managed to meet loads of people dressed up in cosplayers. I made 2 videos worth of YouTube for my channel. When I got to meet you and Christopher Nelson, you were I just want to say a big thank you because you were absolutely sound with me. You signed my Taking Shape book. You took a picture with me that you didn't.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't have to do it. You could have just said no. I mean, it was Chris, but you were sound. You did it for free. So I just want to say a big thank you on that.
Of course.
For that.
Yeah, you know, it's funny is I think it's people like will try to pay me to sign, like, well, what, you know, how much? And I'm like, no, I'm good. And like, no. And I'm like, no, it's cool. I mean, it's not that for me personally, I don't feel like I'm on the level that should be charging people to sign. You know what I mean? I'm just grateful somebody wants my autograph. I'm more than happy to sign anything. I don't want to charge. And I'm there. If you see me at a convention, I'm there making money already. Okay. So, I don't need, I don't need to take somebody's extra money, because, you know, I might have already got a little bit of your money from you getting someone else's autograph. Who knows? So I'm just grateful anybody cares. And, yeah, that's why I don't charge. If it got to the point where I walked in a room and a line formed and I'm stuck there for 3 hours, maybe I'd consider charging at that point just to try to keep people at bay. But I don't think I'm going to have that problem. So,
going to For the Love of Horror, like, how was your time there?
Oh, I love it so much. It's such a, and it was funny as I was talking to Chris about this, and we'll probably talk about it on the next podcast because we haven't had one since we did For the Love of Horror. But, you know, I had told him, I go, look, man, it's very different than a US show. It's got a totally different vibe. And he loved it so much because it was different. And what I mean by the setting is different. Like, that building has its own vibe that is very different from the cold ballroom or convention center that we're used to, you know. It has a vibe. And the fact that when you go into the vendor's room, for us, it's all these vendors we've never seen before selling different stuff that we don't see in the States, you know. And because, you know, if you do the conventions like I do in the US, eventually you get to know the vendors. You see them at every show. It's almost like a traveling circus. We're going to see you next weekend in New Mexico. See you in 3 weeks in New Jersey. You know, it's like the same guys selling the same shit. And it's usually pop figures and all this generic crap, NECA figures that, you know, it's like, all right, everybody has that stuff. But when we come over to the UK, there's all these vendors with stuff, a lot of original stuff, you know, stuff they made themselves, foreign DVDs, foreign posters, things that we don't regularly see, you know. So I ended up buying, you know, every time I go to that show, I buy stuff. I dropped like $400 on a couple vintage posters that this guy had. So,
wow, I know, like, when
they're right over there. They're sitting on a chair. So
I know when I went in the vendor, because like I was there for both days, but the Saturday I spent most of my day like in the queues, like getting stuff signed.
Yeah.
But on the Sunday, I managed to get into the vendor stall, and there was these like 2 stalls that had loads of like big head busts, like the American Werewolf. They had like loads of head busts, like American Werewolf in London, Freddy Krueger, like, do you know, like the big statues.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And like I was just, but no, they're like,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they were like £700 to £1,000, and I was like, but they looked amazing. Like, if I had the money, I would have like bought them straight away.
Yeah.
But like I was thinking, how would I get it home? That's the problem.
There was a few things I saw that I had the same problem. I was like, well, I'd buy that, but I don't have any room for it because my suitcase was stuffed already. Posters, folded posters, I can handle. So,
I on the first day I managed to meet Nick Castle.
uh
I messaged you about this because when I was talking about getting him on as a guest, like, and he seemed like proper up for it. But you mentioned someone I had to go through, but I can't remember the name. Do you know the name?
probably me.
Oh, probably. Would it be
I mean,
possible?
although I don't book interviews for my clients,
Oh, right, okay.
I hate to say, I mean, I'm like his only contact, so you know, it's kind of like I'm the person that they get put off to, and then I usually tell them, well, I don't do that,
Oh,
but um, so there might be a little good cop, bad cop there. I don't know.
oh,
But I
well,
can ask him for you.
yeah,
I'll at least do that for you because I like you.
yeah. I'm saying, like, he seems like up for doing it. So if he says yes, please get back in touch with me.
Okay.
Right. When seeing all these celebrities that obviously that you're always around, is there anyone that you still get starstruck by?
You know, not really. Um, uh, no, I don't. There's people that I've never met that I would love to meet, but I don't. I'm not the type of personality that gets like nervous. And I think that's one thing that has made me so successful in my business is I wasn't a fanboy. I am a fanboy in here. I am, but I have a way of carrying myself that's very confident and not, and that's why I became friends with a lot of these people, is that I don't nerd out. And
Yeah.
because as soon as you come off as a fan, they're kind of like, there's a little
Yeah.
of that, and a lot of the people I work with, they find out I'm a fan later. Like, oh, I didn't know you were really into this shit. And it's like, oh, yeah, Um, but the only ones that like I think about, like, I'm dying to meet are a couple sports guys, honestly. Dan Marino, who is the Miami Dolphins quarterback, legendary, as you know from Ace Ventura, and a guy named Gary Payton, who was on the Seattle Supersonics. He was like my idol as a basketball player. I played basketball too. And anyway, if I met those guys, I don't think I would. I would definitely be inside going, holy shit, but I would probably stay pretty composed. But those are the two guys that I want to meet the most. And and they're actually not that unaccessible. They do sports conventions, stuff like that. It's just, for me, the last thing I want to do on a free weekend is go to a convention. You know what I mean? And have to deal with what the fans actually have to deal with, buying a ticket, waiting in a line. And I mean, I've become jaded and very, when you deal with the world I deal with, and you're walking in the back door and you're in the green room and you can walk right up to the person and get your thing done. Now we're entering a whole world I don't have anything to do with, the sports world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm a civilian. So one of these days, though, actually, funny thing is, Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, who's another one I'd like to meet. They were like the duo on the Seattle Supersonics. They were supposed to do a convention in California like 2 months ago. And it was a weekend I was home. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go. I'm going to be a fan. I'm just going to do it. I'm in. And it got canceled.
Oh.
I'm like, shit. Yeah.
You should just go and just experience the pain we all go through of waiting.
Yeah. Oh no, but dude, I've got on all you guys years of waiting in lines You have to understand. I've been going to conventions since like 1988, and
Oh,
I didn't start doing this till 2003. So from 1988 to 2003, I waited in my share of lines. Believe me, I waited 8 hours to get Howard Stern to sign a book. I waited 5 hours the first time I met George Romero. I mean,
oh my God.
it's I've stood in lines. Believe me.
That's it. You've answered all
All
my
right,
questions.
bye. No, I was good.
I gotta finish this off.
Time for me to get some lunch and watch my basketball game.
I hope you have fun. I'm gonna edit this video and then go to bed.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you. I appreciate you reaching out, and hopefully this gets over 100 views. Give me a link and I'll share it. That'll help it get over 100.
Yeah, I'll tag you on Instagram if you want to collaborate on it with me.
Yeah, send me a collaboration.
Right. Well, that is it. Thank you so much. I really mean that. Thank you so much for just taking the time out of your day for talking to me.
No problem.
It means a lot. But weirdly enough, my next guest, I'll tell you. I might as well tell everyone. In December, Lee Waddell is going to be my next guest. Because I met him for the Love of Horror, and I got talking to him, and he said he can do December, so that is my next guest. So
I was just texting with him before we jumped on, because we were texting about the Dolphins game, because he's a big Cowboys fan. I'm a Dolphins fan. We've both had terrible years, so he was like telling me how happy he was for me. I have him at a convention, which probably just ended about 30 minutes ago. It was called Creature Features Weekend in Pennsylvania. So that's where he's at right now.
All right. Oh, well, look, right, I'll let you go. You've been more than generous enough giving me your time for today. So that's it. I just want to thank the amazing Sean Clark for coming on my channel, talking to me about For the Love of Horror is Hallowed Grounds, the thing with two heads and everything else in between. There you go, there's a sticker. As always, I'm Anthwood Movie Mania, that is Sean Clark. Please leave your likes, your comments, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. And thank you very much.
Man, thanks a lot.